Hello people, my name is Tom and I'm here to try and get people to come together about equality.
Equality, don't make me laugh. People are different and shall always be different. I mean, look at the way we treat old people.
Oh, come on man, I think old people are cool. We're all going to get old sooner or later, and and many would be a great laugh if it wasn't people like you, who think that all they want to do is sit there. If you actually get to know them, they can be quite fun. So just tell tons of old stories now, about stuff that we can't do anymore, but they did in their youth.
Okay, well how about all those foreign religions, such as being Muslim, a Buddhist, even Jews? I mean, we're having their temples and holidays worked into our calendars. This country of good old UK is Christian. You know, worshipping God and baby Jesus and that, celebrating Christmas and all that stuff.
Well, dude, let me correct you. First off, is that we, the British, are actually a very Protestant country. It's the Italians that are very Catholic. And secondly, all the religions you just mentioned involve peace, prosperity, and love, and that in no way argue the most commonly practiced British faith. In fact, other religions have brought many Brits enlightenment, where our religion could not.
Okay, dude, how about you shove that enlightenment stuff in this topic, and sure, I'll let you have religion and old age, but what about our youths? I mean, look at the chavs on the street and all those hoodies and hoodlums. I mean, I'm scared to go out at night when there are a bunch of those hooded lads walking up and down my street.
And it's people like you that I hate. But truth be told, I'm also slightly scared of the hood, even though I wear one in my spare time. But this is just a stereotype. I mean, adults think all teenagers want hoods, just to be antisocial. But it's actually a fashion trend, and they're bloody comfy for some of us. And as for the chavs, if you ask people what makes a chav, there are a lot of differences between their stories, such as their tracky bottoms, their language, and in some cases, how appalling the behaviour is. But if you look at the origins of the chav, from the research I could fish up, the chav's origins are actually because of council housing, and as a result of having low income. They have poor man's apparel, which is tracky gear, as this is relatively cheaper than buying denim clothing, which is the more common among higher paid people's households. Also, if I point out behaviour in the chav's demeanour, the council houses are just stereotyped as not being very nice and even run down dumps, and sometimes this is true, but this can also influence the neighbourhood that they live in.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Then tell me, if I'm supposed to treat all these people, how have they chosen their trend? And what about all those spazzes and mental rejects out there? Then what are you going to argue about their inequality?
Well, first off, the word spaz or spastic is actually a reference to an involuntary movement in the body, and there is actually one muscle in the body that constantly has an involuntary movement, and that is the heart. If you think about it, you don't command the heart to pump blood, it spazzes out and pumps blood around the body for you. So, in that respect, everyone's a spaz. Also, I ask you, what really makes a mental reject? I mean, everyone is to some extent, and here's a challenge to you, the audience, to look at the person next to you and think, what are the chances that they're thinking the exact same way you do? And the chances are not very high. So, can you please clarify what makes someone a mental reject?
Well, someone who's mentally retarded.
Well, that can be taken in two ways, at best. First off is that they can't take a mental shit, which means their brains aren't full of crap and don't have brain farts, which I would have to say is brilliant for them, as they can teach me how... see, that's a brain fart right there. But I would ask them how they could teach me how to do this. Also, secondly, is that those who are mentally retarded are just mentally different, and in their actions and their thoughts, and they aren't considered the norm. In which case, here's my argument for them. Many people can be born mentally deficient due to the conditions way out of their control, such as not miscarriages in the birth, but complications during birth or during pregnancies, whether in their mother's womb. Also, you can become mentally deficient by external sources such as large blows to the head, and even some medication can do that to you. So next time you get hit in the head, you've just become slightly mentally deficient right there.
Yeah, right. But I'm talking about those mental rejects in the homes.
Well, first off, they aren't rejects. They just can't cope with our version of society, which is kind of understandable at the moment. And secondly, some of these people can make Einstein look like an average Joe in intelligence sometimes.
Yeah, really? How so?
If I had to explain that, I'd take another video just to get through half of the content. But let me put it in blunt. These people cannot deal with our society, and what we as a society call mental rejects. We stereotype them as dumb and unable to fend for themselves. In fact, some of these people can and do so very well, but are abused constantly in their work homes, not in their work homes, in their homes by their people who work there. And if you treated them a bit more fair, with a bit more equality, then you might actually find they can be of some use to society, or even a lot more use than what we give them right now.
Right. Well, one final complaint, and that's about people's race. I mean, I can't tell a racial joke no more without someone yelling at me.
What, a fine, outstanding gentleman like yourself? I can't see why someone would love to love to yell at you.
You mocking me?
Yes, I am. And now I'm going to explain why you're always getting yelled at. Firstly, racist jokes aren't illegal, but they can cause problems for you, such as a loss of job, even suspending. Also, racist jokes usually form to some type of stereotype, but this is not usually true. A good example would be us Brits. And us having tea every Sunday, which I'm sure we all have an audience watching will be able to tell us that this is not true. Other stereotypes involve every Asian person knowing martial arts, and every black man being a thug for hire.
Yeah, well, you might be right, but it don't mean I gotta like it.
I'm not saying you have to. I'm saying you just treat people equally, and we all have our own... Sorry about that, people. My speech is going. But what I'm saying is, you just have to treat people equally. You don't have to like it, but as long as you just treat them equally during your workplace, your jobs, or even just socialising at meeting them in a coffee shop, that's equality. I mean, you can get into a lot of trouble for not treating people equally these days. This Tom Brown for Tutor Class C signing out.